This is Nightline and I'm Zahir. Kelvin Abdullah. The top stories. MADANI housing blocks required in new residential projects. An MOT to seek for harsher penalties on motorists under the influence of drugs. All future housing projects must incorporate MADANI housing blocks to provide opportunities for low-income groups to become homeowners. Prime Minister Datuk Anwar Ibrahim stated that he has issued the directive to the Federal Territories Department and Kuala Lumpur City Hall DBKL, adding that this is an essential requirement for the approval of new housing developments. Anwar, who is also the Finance Minister, stated that the government machinery must address the complicated housing issue as there are 60,000 people on the waiting list for public housing in Kuala Lumpur. This is also to ensure that the MADANI housing benefits not only civil servants but also the more vulnerable B40 and M40 groups.
Buat perumahan baru, dia ada tanah, okey. Dia kita luluskan. Kita boleh bagi kelonggaran. Kita boleh percepatkan, tapi syaratnya mesti ada 1-2 blok rumah MADANI untuk rakyat memanfaatkan daripadanya.
Anwar said this during the launch of the Malaysia MADANI Civil Servants Housing Program, PPAM, in Bandar Seri Permaisuri, Kuala Lumpur on Tuesday. As of July 31st, a total of 38,133 PPAM units have been completed nationwide. In the 2024 budget, 249 million ringgit was allocated for the PPAM projects across the country. At a separate event, Anwar said that the 2025 budget, which will be tabled in the Dewan Rakyat on October 18, will focus on managing the rising costs of living. The Prime Minister emphasised that it is the government's duty to alleviate this burden as the issue remains a pressing concern for the people.
Walaupun saya boleh sebut gula kita paling murah, minyak kita paling murah, tepung kita paling murah, minyak masak kita murah, tapi bagi rakyat Malaysia ni masih merasa terbeban. Dia tak banding dengan Thailand harga, dia tak banding dengan Singapura, dia tak banding dengan Indonesia. Jadi sebab itu saya katakan kita dalam belanjawan ini, selain daripada isu-isu yang kita bicarakan, hal ini juga kita harus tangani.
Speaking at the Finance Ministry's monthly assembly in Putrajaya on Tuesday, Anwar pointed out that the rising costs are exacerbated by issues such as leakage, corruption, smuggling and excessive profits from cartels. Therefore, the government must consider all possible methods and strategies to lower costs to provide comfort to the people. Anwar also highlighted that the strength of the domestic economy and measures taken by the Finance Ministry have played a crucial role in the strengthening of the ringgit. He added that the government's decision to implement targeted diesel subsidies, which has been described as an unpopular move, has also helped boost investor confidence in choosing Malaysia as their preferred destination. He also said that the government has saved more than 4 billion ringgit due to its firm implementation of the targeted subsidy program. The Malaysian economy is on the right track despite facing external headwinds, including the risks of a recession in the United States. Second Finance Minister Datuk Amir Hamzah Azizan said the projection by the Department of Statistics Malaysia that the country's economy would grow by 5% in the first half of 2024 is higher compared to the Finance Ministry's expectation of 4 to 5%. Speaking to reporters at an event in Kuala Lumpur on Tuesday, Amir also described the fall of the global stock markets on Monday following overcorrection as temporary, with Bursa Malaysia's performance staging a recovery.
Dah unemployment dah tinggi sikit, ya. Dia punya confidence level dah turun. Jadi ekspektasinya juga US akan memotong dia punya interest rate lah. Kita juga nampak kadang-kadang ada trading positions yang orang ambil dan dia resettle trading position, jadi market turun kerana ada resettlement yang berlaku. Tapi ini short term.
The FBM KLCI index rebounded on Tuesday following investors' pursuit of undervalued stocks. According to Rakuten Trade Research, Bursa Malaysia remains in an oversold position. Local investor sentiment also remains positive, driven by the country's strong economic fundamentals and the continued inflow of foreign direct investment. The Transport Ministry is seeking to impose harsher penalties on motorists caught driving under the influence of drugs in the upcoming amendments to the Road Transport Act this year. This is because existing laws are not stringent enough to effectively punish these offenders. According to Transport Minister Anthony Loke, his ministry is looking into amending Section 45A of the Road Transport Act for the offence of driving under the influence of drugs. This is because the authorities can only suspend the licenses of drivers who take drugs and cannot prosecute them unless they cause an accident.
Ini sesuatu yang saya rasa perlu kita kaji balik sebab kita tak nak tunggu sampai kemalangan berlaku.
Loke added that the offence should be punished similarly to drunk driving under the same section. Under the law, drivers who consume alcohol above the permitted limit could face a maximum penalty or a fine of 10,000 ringgit and imprisonment of up to 2 years, even if they are not involved in an accident. Loke also said that he would discuss the best way forward with ministry officials and hope to table the proposed amendment during the third Parliament session in October. This follows a 5-day integrated operation that began on August 1st, during which a total of 21 out of 276 drivers tested positive for drugs based on urine test screenings. This means that 1 in every 13 drivers was under the influence of drugs. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has accepted an apology from Meta Platforms Incorporated for removing his recent post related to the Palestinian issue, particularly on the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh, from Facebook and Instagram. Communications Minister Fahmi Fadzil said it was also hoped that such removal of a Prime Minister's social media posts by Meta would not recur.
Ada berhubung dengan Yang Berhormat Perdana Menteri, beliau sendiri mengambil maklum permohonan maaf daripada pihak Meta dan Perdana Menteri memaklumkan bahawa sahabat-sahabat beliau termasuk yang berada di Timur Tengah telah membaca berita tersebut, bermaksud ia telah sampai seantero dunia.
Meta on Tuesday issued an apology for taking down a number of posts on the Prime Minister's official Instagram and Facebook accounts. Representatives from the company also held a meeting with the Prime Minister's office and the Communications Minister on Monday. According to a Meta spokesperson, the matter was due to an operational error and the post in question has been re-uploaded. The social media giant had branded Hamas as a dangerous organization and banned positive content related to the group. Meanwhile, news reports about Meta's apology received widespread media coverage in Arab and Arabic-speaking countries. All Malaysians residing or visiting the United Kingdom, even for a short period, are urged to register with the High Commission on Malaysia in London. They are also urged to remain on high alert and to stay informed about current developments in the UK. Haliza Hashim sends this report from London.
Malaysian High Commissioner to the UK, Datuk Zahir Jaafar, stated that registration for Malaysians residing in the UK or visiting for more than a month can be made online via the Foreign Ministry's e-consular service. For those visiting the UK on a short-term basis, less than 1 month, they can register by sending an email to lonmalaysian@kln.gov.my.
Kita mahu rakyat Malaysia supaya sentiasa peka dan mengambil langkah untuk tidak berada ataupun dalam kata lain to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Kerana sering kita mendapat maklumat atau pertanyaan daripada waris mereka di Malaysia bertanyakan tentang kebajikan ahli keluarga yang berkunjung dan kerana tidak ada maklumat yang sampai kepada kita, maka adalah lebih baik walaupun datang untuk tempoh seketika memaklumkan keberadaan mereka.
Datuk Zahir also advised Malaysians in the UK to follow the guidance provided by local authorities. He added that given the current situation, misinformation can spread rapidly and be easily misinterpreted, especially on social media. a Malaysian living in Liverpool, also revealed that she was almost trapped at the scene of the riot.
We did not see the people were doing horrible things. They're throwing the dustbin, they're throwing things to the shop and breakages. There's like about 700 people, that kind of size, and it feels like 700 people because there's so many people doing so many crazy things. They even pulled the policeman from the motorcycle. I said, oh my God, it is so scary because if I was there, I think that I will also be pulled along.
The UK is a popular holiday destination among Malaysians, with the City of London remaining a favourite location. Lately, many parents have been visiting to attend their children's university graduations.
Kalau tengok TV itu seolah-olah macam intensify lah. Ada peningkatan sikit dari segi aktiviti rusuhan. So pagi tadi pun ada 2 tempat ke 3 tempat rusuh setiap go to the hotel yang apa nama ni imigran duduk semua kan. So agak kalau kata mengisaukan, tapi tengok nampak dikawal oleh polis.
Earlier, Wisma Putra issued an advisory urging Malaysians residing or travelling to the UK to stay away from areas affected by protests. The Malaysian High Commission is also coordinating a comprehensive follow-up framework involving all government departments and agencies, including Malaysian companies based in the UK. Halisa Hashim, TV3, London.
In the meantime, police have identified 30 new rallies which are planned to take place late on Wednesday as Starmer's Standing Army remains poised to deal with the unrest. According to police sources, more than 5,900 officers have now been mobilized to deal with the unrest. It is understood that the measures which were put into place on Monday have improved the force's preparedness for disruptions. This came as reports indicated that nearly 400 people have been arrested over the past week, with some of those charged in connection with the riots appearing in various magistrates' courts on Monday. Bangladesh political unrest continues. This and more from the foreign front after this short break.
Kenapa dirang harus menjadi mangsa?
Mengenai kanak-kanak 5 tahun Nurul Nadira Abdullah yang disahkan rentung oleh polis.
Sangat kejam. Dah tak jadi, orang kata tak jadi bentuk manusia dah.
Istimewa lintas langsung dari Muzium Negara sempena pameran Raja Kita.
Angka pengidap diabetes terus meningkat. Gaya hidup dan pemakanan antara punca.
Fasa peralihan monsun, jejas alam sekitar dan kesihatan, masyarakat harus peka dengan cuaca panas.
Lesen media sosial, adakah menyekat hak bersuara?
Dan soal wang membincangkan tentang peruntukan duit untuk bersedekah.
MSI setiap Isnin hingga Jumaat 9.30 pagi eksklusif di TV3.
Dan juga stream melalui Tonton.
I sebenarnya tak suka kau kalau duduk main office ni.
Whether you have to...
Cakap Melayu, cakap Melayu.
Apa yang bising-bising ni? Daripada depan lagi saya dengar.
Tuan tanya. Lah, awak apa tak kecek awak Kelantan?
Mana? Oh, dia buat dah.
Pakcik.
Dia buat dah.
Pakcik. Pakcik sedap.
Pakcik dah.
Welcome back. Key organizers of Bangladesh's student protests on Tuesday have said Nobel Peace Prize laureate Muhammad Yunus should head an interim government after longtime Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned and fled the country. In a video post on social media, the organizer Nahid Islam said the student protest leaders have already talked with Yunus, who consented to take over. Meanwhile, a spokesperson for Yunus said the Nobel laureate would return to Bangladesh immediately after a minor medical procedure in Paris. Earlier, President Muhammad Shahabuddin announced that Parliament had been dissolved after assuring that new elections would be held as soon as possible. The president also framed freed Bangladesh Nationalist Party chairperson Begum Khalida Zia, a former prime minister, and Hasina's arch-rival from house arrest. The announcement followed a scheduled meeting between the protests of organisers and the army chief after protesting student leaders set a deadline to dissolve parliament and warned a strict program would be launched if the deadline is not met. In the meantime, reports said that 76-year-old Hasina is likely to stay in India until Britain grants her asylum. At least 5 U.S. personnel were injured in an attack against a military base in Iraq on Monday amid rising tensions following last week's killing of senior members of Hamas and Hezbollah. An Iraqi military source confirmed that multiple rockets were fired at the Al-Assad base, with some landing inside it and another hitting a nearby village but not causing damage. According to U.S. defense officials, troops at the base were still assessing injuries and damage, and it appeared that as many as 7 military troops and civilians were injured. It was unclear whether the attack was linked to threats by Iran to retaliate over the killing of the Hamas leader. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has named the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, as her running mate ahead of the November presidential election. In an Instagram post announcing the pick, Harris explained her decision, remarking that Walz's convictions on fighting for middle-class families were among the things that stood out to her. She cited his upbringing in Nebraska and how after his father's death to cancer, his family relied on Social Security survivor benefits to make ends meet. The choice of Walz creates a ticket that many Democrats have said would be politically beneficial. Compared with some of the other prospects who Harris considered as potential running mates, Walz is less well-known and has faced less scrutiny on the national stage. Harris was expected to hold her first rally with Walz on Tuesday in Philadelphia, the first stop in a 4-day tour of battleground states that includes visits to Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and elsewhere. Greek authorities have confiscated 30 packages of cocaine valued at more than $1 million that was hidden in the consignment of bananas on a container ship. According to the Hellenic Coast Guard, the container, which was seized on Monday, was worth more than $1.1 million. This discovery was made after the unidentified vessel arrived at the container terminal at Piraeus. It was reported that the cocaine, which in total weighed at around 35 kilograms, had been hidden in a refrigerated container carrying a legal cargo of bananas loaded at an Ecuadorian port. 2 additional containers were searched, but no contraband was found. South American production of cocaine has surged over the past decade, with Balkan traffickers helping to turn Europe into the world's biggest market for the drug.
This is Poinsetta Road to the right.
Spain reached second straight final. Action from the Olympics when we come back.
Kenapa dirang harus menjadi mangsa?
Mengenai kanak-kanak 5 tahun Nurul Nadira Abdullah yang disahkan rentung oleh polis.
Sangat kejam. Dah tak jadi, orang kata tak jadi bentuk manusia dah.
Masalah Umi dengan Sri Hanim tu salah faham kecil je kot. Cik tahu semuanya, Umi.
Naik dah balik.
Sorry.
Cakaplah. Rumah tu isi awak? Tunang awak? You akan kena cukup-cukup kali. I tak suka you.
Macam berharganya saya ni kat hati awak.
You malukan I. Tunggu nasib ni.
Pengantin pasti jadi. Khamis hingga Sabtu 9 malam di Lestari TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Kalau drama lain selalunya sibuk dengan konflik cinta.
Awak tak yakin yang saya cintakan dan sayangkan awak.
Keluarga.
Aku nak cari anak aku!
Dan adik-beradik. Jangan biadab dengan ibu, Tapi drama ni ada isu dengan Pontianak mengganas. Kat Amerika, ada ke Miss Ponti? Slot Cerita Rama setiap Sabtu di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
We're back with sports. The 2024 Paris Olympics. Youth and Sports Minister Hannah Yeoh said that the national contingent's hope of bagging the country's first Olympic gold medal now hinges on the track cyclists led by Datuk Muhammad Azizul Hasni Awang. This after the national shuttlers could only end the campaign with 2 bronzes.
Hakikat kita punya atlet ada sasaran, walaupun mereka sasarkan emas tapi mereka dapat gangsa. Saya berterima kasih bagi pihak Malaysia, kita berterima kasih atas kesungguhan mereka untuk mendapatkan pingat bagi Malaysia. Pencarian emas diteruskan kerana Olimpik belum berakhir dan kita masih ada lagi acara lain.
Hannah said this during a gathering with the Malaysian media personnel covering the Paris Olympics on Monday. The minister added that she has never been worried about the dedication and maturity shown by the pocket rocket man. Hannah also expressed her appreciation for the fighting spirit displayed by the badminton players, hopes that other athletes will also produce their best performances in Paris. Still on Olympics, Spain remain on course to add Olympic men's football gold to their 2024 Euro title after coming from behind to beat Morocco 2-1 in the semi-finals on Monday. Morocco opened the scoring in the 37th minute when Sofiane Rahimi converted a penalty for his 6th Olympic goal following a foul by Spain's Pablo Barrios. However, Spain were more dangerous after the break and equalised in the 66th minute when Barcelona's Fermin Lopez struck home from inside the box. Substitute Juan Luis Sanchez then scored the winning goal for the Spaniards 5 minutes from time after a fine team move from the right. Spain, Olympic champions on home soil in 1992, advanced to Friday's gold medal match in Paris where they will meet host France. Meanwhile, host France will play in the Olympic men's football final for the first time in 40 years after beating Egypt 3-1 in the semi-finals. Egypt had more shots on goal during the first half before Mahmoud Saber Abdel Mohsen Hassan opened the scoring in the 62nd minute by striking home a rebound. France fought back and drew level when Jean-Philippe Mateta found the net 7 minutes from time thanks to a brilliant through ball by Michel Olise, sending the game into extra time. Mateta then scored his second to put France ahead with a towering header in the 99th minute, before Olise delivered the final blow in the 108th minute to seal the 3-1 win, sending Egypt to the bronze medal match against Morocco. Meanwhile, Sweden's Armand Duplantis broke his own pole vault world record on Monday, clearing 6.25 meters to cap his second consecutive gold medal. The 24-year-old improved his previous world record of 6.24 meters set in April by 1 centimeter on his third and final attempt. In the women's sprint event, Britain's Katie Merchant, Sophie Capewell and Emma Finucane shattered the world record with a time of 45.186 seconds to win gold. The British trio, who trailed New Zealand's Rebecca Petch, Shane Fulton and Iles Andrews after the first 250 meters, surged ahead after the second lap and dominated the final stretch to earn their nation's first medal in the event. Earlier, Britain's Keely Hodgkinson delivered a stunning performance to win the Olympic 800 metres gold medal, finishing in 1 minute and 56.72 seconds. The 22-year-old held her composure to outpace Ethiopia's Tsige Duguma and Kenya's Mary Moraa, crossing the line with tears of joy to claim her first global title. 5 remanded over oil tanker cleaning contract. The details when Nightline returns.
Kenapa dirang harus menjadi mangsa?
Mengenai kanak-kanak 5 tahun Nurul Nadira Abdullah yang disahkan rentung oleh polis.
Sangat kejam. Dah tak jadi, orang kata tak jadi bentuk manusia dah.
Wanita hari ini.
Kadang-kadang kita terlupa untuk menghargai momen yang ada.
Penting untuk kita cipta kenangan sebab kita tak tahu siapa yang tiada selepas ni.
Ikan bilis kegemaran ramai.
Macam-macam venue boleh dibuat dengan ikan bilis.
Cerai di media sosial.
Apakah nilai sebuah talak?
Trauma bersama selepas bersalin.
Macam mana cara nak mengatasinya ni?
Mentua yang cerewet ke menantu yang pemalas?
Mak, apa solusinya ni?
Semuanya di WHI TV3
dan stream sekarang ditonton.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wih, sampai buat apa nak kira ni?
Hai, saya Bashira.
Saya Hidayah.
Jangan lupa saksikan kami dalam
Jabatan Call Center.
Setiap Jumaat
jam 10 malam
hanya di
TV3.
Atau boleh juga stream melalui
Tonton.
Yes.
The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, has remanded 5 individuals suspected of being involved in bribery to secure a 15.3 million ringgit oil tanker cleaning contract 3 years ago. The suspects include a manager of an oil and gas subsidiary, 2 former employees of the same company and 2 contractors. The men, aged between 30 and 63, were detained at the MACC headquarters in Putrajaya at 8 p.m. on Monday after providing their statements. Putrajaya Court Magistrate Erza Zulaika Rohanuddin granted a 5-day remand for the manager and 2 former employees, while the 2 contractors were remanded for 3 days starting Tuesday. MACC Special Operations Division Senior Director Dato' Azmi Kamruzaman confirmed the arrest. The individuals are being investigated under Section 16 of the MACC Act. In Johor, police are investigating paedophilia as a possible motive behind the kidnapping of a 6-year-old girl from Iskandar Putri last month. According to State Police Chief Commissioner M. Kumar, the male suspect is believed to have acted alone in the kidnapping of the child. Kumar said the investigation followed the discovery of sexual paraphernalia at the suspect's home in Kulai.
We have found new leads, i.e. the text toys and all that. So our focus of investigation now will be on that. And we hope to establish the motive in a couple of days.
The 31-year-old suspect has been remanded for 6 days beginning Monday to assist investigation under the Sexual Offences Against Children Act and Penal Code. It was reported earlier that police had re-arrested the suspect who had been previously released on bail for the abduction following the discovery of this new evidence. Police rescued the child and detained the suspect at the Budget Hotel in Batang Kali, Selangor on July 23rd. The girl had gone missing from a shopping mall in Iskandar Putri on July 20th. Nightline draws to a close this time around. Let's take a look as a Yemeni artist creates intricate works of art inspired by the ongoing war in Gaza. With that, I'm Zahir, Kelvin, Abdullah. Thank you for tuning in and stay safe, Malaysia.